Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I originally was not going to do a video on this. I wasn't even supposed to be recording today. Today was my day off, but I came across a developing story and I was like, you know what? I gotta do a video on this because this is just too insane not to talk about and not to point out because this keeps happening, and if I don't speak on this, it's going to continue to happen. So let's talk about it. So this video went viral this past week.
Okay, let go. Let go. You didn't let me get my moment, so I want to say my name is CurlyBoyChuck, and I'm graduating today. I don't like how you snatched the mic out of my hand, so today is going to be all about me. Oh, drops the mic. Congratulations!
Now, of course, living in the climate that we live in, everyone pretty much jumped to conclusions on what I was seeing. So I went online and I saw the comments, and there were so many comments that were pretty much praising this young woman, calling her a hero, and saying that she was being targeted because she's black, and that the professor, who happens to be white, was clearly a racist. She was trying to steal her moment from her, and she's evil. And then the actual girl in the video, who through the microphone made a response video as to why she did what she did.
So, here's my story time. Basically, what happened was I was walking on, and we had to announce our names and say our name before we get on the stage. So I was saying my name, and she literally, my name is long. My name, obviously, I have like 3 syllables in my name. I'm not gonna say exactly my name right now, but okay, just so you get a point. So I didn't even finish getting to say my name. And then the people that went before me and everything, they all got to say their name, their major, and even extras. And me and another girl noticed that she was pulling the mic down super fast for some black people. I don't want to be that person, but that was the tea. So, I mean, I just couldn't let that happen because I just feel like I worked so hard to graduate and went through so much shit to graduate that I just felt like I had to reclaim my moment. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a problematic person. I don't want to ruin no one's day. I don't want to violate anybody, but that's what she did. She didn't even let me finish speaking. She put the mic down, cut me off, and that was the only time I was able to speak. So I just feel like that wasn't right.
So as I'm watching this story unfold, in my mind I'm thinking, there's got to be more to this story. I'm just not buying it. Call me a skeptic, I don't know. But there's always another side. And I just find it hard to believe that this young woman was being targeted and that every black person at the graduation were being targeted only, and that everybody else was allowed to speak except for the black people. I just found that to be really hard to accept. I don't know. I just thought there's got to be more to the story. And of course, there is. So as this story was developing, more information came out. Now, another woman who was at the graduation, who happens to also be black, spoke up and said the original story is BS. Here's what she had to say in her own words.
I was in the graduation. I graduated with my graduation. Basically, there was 2 sections, Section A and Section B, and within those 2 sections, there was two long lines, and we were told to say our names when we approached the lady in the video to say our names within the mic. But she didn't know any of our names to know whether or not it was long, short, how many siblings, XYZ. She didn't know. To hold it a certain way, how long, none of that. So basically, there was people who did say other things extra other than their name, but they weren't just one race. There was a lot of people of all races saying other things other than the race, but we wasn't told to say our major, any of that. We were just really told to say our first and last name. I also have said things extra than my first and last name. I said I love my mama, and some girl before me who was also a chocolate girl said big up Jamaica. So I don't see where this, because we're black and all this other things that's coming into play. I also believe that she did that because it was a little white old lady. If it wasn't anybody else, I don't believe she would have done that. She would have took her L and would have walked. That was the case. If that really happened. Also, the mic was never handed to us. for it to get snatched, the lady was going back and forth to each line because remember there was 2 lines with a person. There was a lot of people up and going back and forth, going to each person like this to say their names. So it wasn't no pause for somebody to hold the mic to say their name, to take it back or anything. So she went her moment, she got her moment. That's what she was looking for, a moment. But I would say that graduation was not the best graduation. It wasn't a proper graduation. We didn't go on stage. We didn't. They didn't hand us our diploma. I do think that part of the graduation was stolen, but it wasn't that name stuff. I feel like she made the graduation her graduation, not everybody else's graduation. But I do think they should do next year for the next people do better because that was not a proper graduation, and I don't think anybody deserved that for the hard work they put in for school.
Thank goodness she said something, because what she said actually makes a whole lot more sense than what the original woman was saying actually happened. So according to the second lady, she was pretty clear that the professor's job was to hold the microphone herself and to go back and forth between 2 different lines because there were so many different graduates and it was a long line. So it was supposed to be a quick pace. Say your first and last name, say your first and last name, say your first and last name, and on and on and on. Now, if you remember, the original girl stated that the graduates were allowed to say their first, their last name, their major, and anything extra that they wanted to add. But that was a lie. And the reason why I know this is because I saw an actual clip from the graduation, and every student said their first and last name and then walked off.
John Booth, Amy Gomez, Angelica Chiara Villar, Nina Agulero, Amoya Doyley, Cassandra Robertson, Janelle Wellington, big up Jamaica! Woo! God sister! Gloria Taylor.
But according to the original girl, you were allowed to pretty much say whatever you wanted to say. And that was a lie. The second lie was when she was talking on the original video, when she was screaming at the woman, she mentioned you, talking about the professor, snatched the microphone away from my hand.
You snatched the mic out of my hand.
But if you recall from the second woman who spoke, and also from what we saw from the footage, the only person who was allowed to hold the microphone was the professor. And the reason being is because she was the one that was controlling the pace of the line and how it was being moved. So why would she hand over the mic to somebody and give them the leisure to say what they want to say for as long as they want to say it? Mind you, the reason why they were saying their own names is because in this particular graduation, the students weren't actually walking up on stage and getting their diploma. See, in a normal graduation, or in most graduations, I should say, normally a faculty member would be on stage saying every graduate's name, and then the person will walk across the stage, get their diploma, shake their hand, wave, and walk off the stage. But in this graduation, it was a little bit different. The students had to say their own names and then they had to walk off. There was no actual stage for them to walk to for whatever reason. I don't know why, but that's how this graduation was. So that's why they were responsible for saying their own name. And again, it also makes sense to the story, because why would you give the microphone to the graduates to say what they want to say when the line is so extremely long? It makes no sense. Of course you wanted to move fast. That was the point. And that was the job of the professor who was holding the microphone. The same microphone that the girl admitted she took from the professor's hand, which caused the professor to snatch it back. The reason why she snatched it back is because the girl was not supposed to grab the microphone, but she did. So she actually broke the rules and then got upset when the microphone was pulled from her hand. Again, another part of the story that was not relayed. But it gets even worse because people in our society tend to jump very quickly to conclusions, and that's exactly what happened in this case. So I came across a video of a political commentator who works for the Young Turks, who happens to be a black man, who spoke on this story. And let's just hear what he had to say about this situation.
A student graduating, it is her day. She's seen grabbing the microphone. Very little context is provided until she provides it directly. Sometimes your love for self and your dignity will cause you to break decorum. I understand what she's saying. I get it. Some people may not. First of all, graduation for Black families is a holiday to us. It is serious to us. It is serious to the student.
Okay, I have to pause for a second. So the fact that he's trying to justify this girl's bad behavior by stating that graduations are really, really important to black people and that for black families is like a holiday. It's a big deal. As if to say that graduating for other families that are not black, that it isn't a big deal. Since when? Like, graduations, in American culture at least, has always been a big deal. It doesn't matter if you're graduating from elementary school, from junior high, from high school, or from college. It's a big deal. People show up, they show out, they scream for you, you go out for dinner afterwards, it's a celebration, they throw you a party. Like, it's a big deal. So I don't understand why this man is trying to make it seem as though graduations only for black people is a much bigger deal and that this white professor stole it from this black girl. That's not what happened. But again, when you are a race hustler and you have to make money off of making everything about race, that's what you do. Let's keep listening.
Our names are culturally connected to our identity. There's a story behind our names. There's a history behind our names. When someone snatches the mic from you or they do not allow you to say your name, understand the name, your name, my name, is the first gift our parents give us. And having something like that disrupted during such a special and iconic moment, I understand the response. I understand her reaction.
So I wonder what the administration was afraid that women like her or black people in general were going to say once they got the mic.
Then he goes on to the actual girl's name, which happens to be a 3-syllable name. It's a long name that she has, which she states herself. Now, why is this important? It's important because, like I stated earlier, the job of the professor was to hold a microphone and to quickly allow the students to say their first and last name, and then she moved on to the next line, and so on, right? And so most people have a 2-part name, a first name and a last name. So it is plausible that this professor thought that when the woman said the first 2 parts of her name that she was done, which is why she moved away, not realizing that there was a 3rd part to her name. And if you listen closely, there was another girl that spoke, I believe she was Hispanic, and she had a 3-part name. And when she got to the 3rd part of her name, the microphone got pulled from her to move on to the next person. So it's very clear that the professor had a certain time frame from when she was moving from one student to the next, and it was not personal. But according to the black woman, it was all personal. It was solely about race. If you're someone like me who is always online surfing the web, downloading videos, using streaming services, then this offer is up your alley. Listen closely. You need protection. And I got just a thing for you. I've been using ExpressVPN for the last 3 years to protect my IP address when I'm online. It allows me to surf the web safely without fear of hackers or anyone getting into my system. It's very simple. You just pick a location anywhere in the world, click connect, and you're now secure. Your IP address is hidden and protected. One of my favorite perks is being able to stream TV shows from other countries like Australia, or to watch Netflix from other countries' locations that has shows that are not available here in the States. And ExpressVPN was kind enough to give my subscribers a special deal. If you sign up today, you get the first 3 months for free. The link is in my description, expressvpn.com/CurlyBoyChuck. Follow the link, it's going to be in my description, and get you 3 months for free using my link and my code. I got you. Which takes me to my 3rd and last point. See, when you go through life wearing a racial lens where you see race in every single aspect of society, you are going to call out racism even when it does not exist. And this is the perfect example. This was not about racism. This was not about discrimination. This was not about some lady deciding to ruin the graduation experience for only the black students. This was about a young woman, a very entitled young woman, who decided to make a moment for herself because she wanted to make a moment for herself. She was upset, she was angry, she took it personal, and because she wears a racial lens everywhere she goes, she assumed that the white professor pulling the microphone away from her must have been a racially aggressive move, even though it was not. And the sad thing about it is that we have these race hustlers in our society who are so quick to jump on the bandwagon. The same people who called the white woman during the white Karen bicycle event a racist. Remember that story? Many people jumped on the bandwagon and said that that woman was being a racist and that she was trying to steal the bike away from the black gentleman. But turned out, based on her own receipts, that she actually was renting the bike in that same time frame that he was taking the bike from her. And The funny thing is that the black man that I showed speaking earlier actually had to apologize and retract his statement because he prematurely judged that white woman and called her a racist. And then when the receipts came out, he realized, oops, my bad, made a mistake.
The full background on this Karen. The Karenicity is unbelievable. Put up the picture. We got her name, where she works, her boss.
Several days later.
But I want to make it very clear. What we do here is opinion commentary. Sometimes that opinion can be incorrect.
Looks like he's learned nothing because it took him 2.5 seconds to jump to the same conclusions about the professor in this video, which turns out to be nothing but a farce. We have got to do better. We have to be critical thinkers, which is exactly why when this story first came out, I was like, I'm not buying it. I need the other side. There's got to be another side. And of course, there was another side which made sense. But the sad thing, like I stated, is that when I was looking at the comments, so many people were jumping on the racial bandwagon, praising this girl and calling the white professor a racist. It's the entitlement for me. And the saddest part about this too, I'm thinking future, I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking, what happens if this girl goes for a job interview and they do a background check on her name and they look at her social media, because FYI, nowadays employers are looking at your social media. Yes, Gen Z, that includes you too. And what happens if an employer puts her name in their system and they see this video, her screaming at a professor, throwing the mic down and marching off self-righteously? I'm gonna just say this, if I'm an employer and my job is to hire people, I am not hiring that girl. Absolutely not. Because her character was shown in that short viral clip. That's how fast things can change for you. But according to her and according to many people who were commenting, she was a hero. She stood up for herself. She was fighting against racism. Okay, well, enjoy that fight in the unemployment line. Look, I'm gonna end it here by saying this. No matter how flat and thin the pancake is, there's always another side. So I implore you, my audience, my peoples, please always wait for the other side before forming an opinion. Get the whole story, get the full picture, and then give your opinion. That's all for today, guys. I know a very short video. They're my usual videos, but I just had to pump this one out because it was bothering me so much and I just had so much to say. So I just had to say it. If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit my notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. If you want to follow me on social media, I am also available on TikTok and on Instagram under CurlyBoyChuck. I do answer my DMs, so let's connect. And if you want to donate to my channel, I'm going to have a link to my Cash App and to my PayPal. All proceeds will go back into this channel so I can continue to make content just for you. Until next time, peace.